Good morning. It is another day, another wardrobe with wallpaper on it, and we are back on Me Made May day 7 to finish my wardrobe audit, and today it is trousers and knitwear. I need to start with what I'm wearing. I am wearing a brand newly minted Me Made top. I'm not going to say a lot about it because probably the day after tomorrow, or maybe even tomorrow, I don't know. Don't know what day it is. I'm going to do my What Did I Make in April video. This one kind of is a crossover actually, but I just finished this last night. You will recognise the fabric if you saw my fabric haul from a few days ago. I love it. As much as I hoped I would, I love it. It's just everything. I'm wearing a thermal top under it because it is beautiful outside but chilly. Yeah, the trousers are ready to wear Marks and Spencer's in an amazing blue. We will get into my penchant for coloured trousers, and we are matching with pink socks and pink shoes to pick up the pink in here. And if we're going full on for what I'm wearing, I've got blue necklace. So that is what I'm wearing today on Me Made May. I am wearing a Me Made. Shocking. So, as I was saying, another day, another wallpapered cupboard, knitwear and trousers. Here we are. So I keep all my knitwear folded by colour, as you can see, and then trousers below, kind of folded by type and colour, type really. And below that is something we may talk about a little bit, but all these thermal tops, I have a lot of them because I wear them nearly every day unless it's like 40 degrees out. So I have a lot of those right on the bottom shelf. So I am going to start with knitwear, and I'm going to do a quick count up of how many I've got, as I've done with the other categories, and then how many are Me Made. 37 items here. What I also keep here, as well as like official knitwear, is really big scarves. So there's these two, that one and that one, and also gilet, and yeah, so big scarves and gilet, and I've got one fleece. But 37. And in terms of Me Made or Me Altered or Me Interventions, there's 14 that have got Me Made elements, completely Me Made, or Me Interventions. So let's have a look at what they are. We've got a couple of tank tops. Oh, my cupboard's going to get destroyed. So these are the same pattern. I can't remember the name, but I will put it down below. Look, are you surprised to see a shoulder detail? Of course you're not by now. So we've got shoulder detail on this red stripy tank top. Ticks everything I've been talking about for the past few days. And then this one, which is in a mint green, which I can see. If I'm going to ruin the microphone now. But I could definitely see me wearing over this top with the sleeves coming out. That would be great. I have worn this actually in the summer when it's a bit chillier, but with a sleeveless shirt under it, and that looks really good. So those two are completely Me Made and Me Knitted. They are cropped, they have shoulder details, they've got all the things that we've been talking about. What else have we got? I think those are the two knitted tank tops that I've got. This was a ready to wear sweatshirt, which I bought with the intention of changing it because I saw it and the colour was fantastic. The colour is fantastic, but it was hip length. It was kind of a tunic length. That's not for me. I actually probably shortened it a little bit too much, but I can still get away with it. So I could have done with maybe just another inch, couple of centimetres in length, but I completely shortened it. It also had like a pouch pocket at the front, which I don't find flattering at all. It's useful, but I don't find it flattering. So this is a really great thing that I wear with jeans, like wide leg jeans. Wear that really often, and I got it because of the colour, even though from brand new I knew I was going to immediately take it apart, which sometimes feels a bit crazy, but sometimes when the colour is as good as that, that's what might make me consider picking something up that I know I'm going to take apart. Here is a Me Made knit. I often knit with big wool because I'm quite a slow knitter. I don't always. My current project is quite narrow gauge wool, and some of them are. But you can see the colour is amazing. It's cropped again. And it doesn't have any specific shoulder details because this one was knitted. I think it was knitted like that. You like start. No, it wasn't. No, you knit it like that, but you knit it all the way from side to side for the sleeves. You probably haven't even got that on the screen right now, but you go all the way side to side for the sleeves, and then you reduce it under the arms and go down in 2 pieces, kind of like a kid would imagine a pattern would be, 2 pieces front and back, and glue them together. And this is actually how this one's made. This I was wearing just a couple of days ago, so this is one of, not the most recently finished thing, but the second most recently finished thing. This is the right red, so it's a blue based red rather than an orange based red, and I love the texture on this. I hope you're able to see that. It's again, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's Bubble Cardigan, because this is like a bubble stitch, and I just love how that looks. It was actually also pretty fun to make. Well, I wouldn't want to do this with small yarn, but with larger yarn, you like literally just wind the yarn around about 5 stitches. I think that's the worst description of a knitting stitch I've ever had. But if you look at bubble stitch, that's what it's called. And this is an open front cardigan. It's actually a little bit too long, and it is it a top down or a bottom up? Can't remember, but I think the construction made it much less easy to tell how long it needed to be. So I would make this again, definitely, but I would make it slightly shorter and in a different colour next time. Maybe a bright blue. Now that would be cool. So here are 2 scarves. I wear this one all the time. It's got fluff on it. In the winter, it's so warm. It's like wearing a blanket. And I often make this scarf style. Again, I will try and remember to put the pattern down below. Featured it on my channel before, but ages. So you knit a rectangle, but then you just attach a tiny bit at the top, and it makes you able to figure of 8 it when you put it on and arrange it over your shoulders. And I just really like being able to wear them that way. It works really well for me. So that is a me-made scarf, which I use a lot, kind of in transitional weather. It's almost like an alternative to a coat. It keeps my shoulders and my neck warm, and I'm quite sensitive to a cold neck in my old age. Anyway, this is the same wool as the, can you tell? In fact, the red cardigan and so the red scarf is not the same wool, but the red cardigan and the red stripy tank top are the same wool. Because I got a lot of it, found red, good colour, nice gauge to work with, bought loads extra. This I didn't intentionally buy loads extra because it was Rowan wool, which is not super cheap, but the colour was great, and I made the tank top and then had loads left over. I think I've still got a little bit left over, but I made this scarf and I really like the pattern. This one is a fully long scarf, but I use it and wear it with like a brooch. I'm not going to put it on because microphone and it will just get all silly, but the colour on this is great. And actually you can see I would definitely wear this with this shirt, for example, this blouse, and one of the shirts, I'll put a picture, one of the shirts I finished in April is pretty much exactly the same colour, which I didn't even realise, and then I put them together. I was like, oh, it's fate. So this is a red ready to wear. Ready to wear. Da, 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 da. Here, you've seen this before. I wore this the other day, but this is the tank top that really needs its bobbles removing. That was a tunic once upon a time. So that is partially me made. Other things that are me made here. So this is a me saved. I got this cashmere top, I think on Vinted, and it was really, really cheap because it had a hole in it. And so it's cashmere. It's only Marks and Spencer's, but it's still the type of top that would cost 100 quid or more new, and it had a hole in it, which is really common with cashmere. And so I did a little heart embroidery over the hole, and it worked perfectly. It was helped by the fact the hole is kind of on the back of the shoulder here, so it's quite a good place to put a little random embroidery. But I love that mending, and it's cashmere, so it's really warm. It's pink, so that one is a me saved because it was very cheap to buy because someone else didn't know or couldn't be bothered to fix the hole. I could, I did. I think I like it even more for having the little embroidery on the shoulder. What else have we got? Here's another jumper that was ready to wear but was a tunic length. So I used to think, before I went on this style journey, tunic lengths, I thought I should cover up my bum because I was always aware that my hips were the widest part of my body. And style and what you want to wear is not about following particular rules. It's about what do you like and dislike and what do you want to highlight and what shape, silhouette do you desire, rather than having to go with conventional norms. To be fair, my taste is relatively conventional because I'd like to sort of balance things out as much as possible, but you don't have to. You just have to understand what effect different things have, and then you can apply them to look however you want it to look. I used to think that I should cover up my bum because it was larger, and that's a thing that a lot of people think. But I never felt super comfortable, and the reason I realise now is because if you do that, especially if you wear leggings underneath, you're actually making everything look out of balance by putting something ending not far from the widest part of your body. And I'll go into styling maybe a bit more next week, but this was longer. But I really loved that it's a very very bright white, not a creamy white, and it's a lovely fluffy colour, fluffy texture. I've got quite a lot of fluffy texture in here. I like a fluffy texture. So I just cut off the bottom band, made the bottom band shorter, and that works really well for me now. So I changed the shape of that one. Here's some cashmere that I entirely remade. It was a men's black cashmere jumper. This has definitely been on my channel before, although I have changed the buttons, which I don't think I've featured, but I made it into a cardigan. So surprise, surprise, it has shoulder details, which I don't know, this is black, so who knows if you can see it, but it has gathering at the shoulders here. It's got 3/4 length sleeves, so I didn't have to redo the band because that was the cuff of the original men's jumper. I reused the ribbing from the original men's jumper. I've got these black and white. You can see I'm consistent, if nothing else. I've got these black and white buttons on there. They used to have gold beads, which were lovely, but I do not like, and gold is not my colour. Silver is my colour. So I took them off in the end because the beads were very nice, but they weren't really my style because they weren't super graphic, but also they were gold and I wasn't reaching for this jumper. So this is a good thing to layer over to be a little bit warmer sometimes, and it's cashmere, and I handmade this entirely myself from a thrifted jumper. This one is a very expensive cashmere jumper that I almost ruined removing bobbles. I don't reach for it very often because the shape's not great, but it cost me a lot of money. And so it's not leaving because it owes me. But I tried to bobble remove it, and there's some texture up here, and the bobble remover does say don't press too hard, but it was the first time I had it. I was getting really enthusiastic, and I basically pulled a load of holes in the cashmere. I just found another one there, so I had to go in and I used some matching just sewing thread because I didn't have any yarn that was anything like this, and sort of hook up all the things, all the holes I'd cut into it, and there were quite a few, which actually, when I first did it, I thought you could still see the mending, but I think it's better than that. I might like to change the buttons on it because I find that they just stand out a bit too much. So that one I rescued from my own stupidity and enthusiasm. A bobble remover is fantastic, but you've got to be careful with it. Here is a completely handmade, great colour as you can see, and it is this one you do knit side to side. You knit like that. You start at the start of one of the arms and you go all the way down, get wider, then narrower for the other arm. And I really like this. I made this, at least 10 years ago. I made a grey one first that recently got killed in the wash. Someone doing the washing for me, so you're not really allowed to complain, are you? But didn't realise it was wool and it shrank. And I was a bit gutted because I really liked that grey one. And I have one grey thing, which when we get into what's my favourite in a minute, that's one of them. Because I reach for it all the time and I don't really have anything else like that. So I do need to replace that. But this one I knitted, that is one of my me-mates. And finally, this is probably my favourite recent make because it just, colour, texture. I love the holes. It's cropped. It's got slightly voluminous sleeves. It is in a large gauge, so it didn't take me too long to make. And yeah, I just love it. I love it when it's on. It's really warm. Again, I'll put the pattern link down below, but this one I really love. So that's my knitwear. That's my me-made knitwear. And I would say my favourites are probably this one. I mean, if I've got 37, I'm allowed 10%, I'm going to say 4. So give me a minute. Okay, I've got my 4, I think. I've shown you 3 of them already. So I would say it's the tank top. I love the shape. Colour's brilliant. I just love pink and red together. You've seen that already on my channel. And I always feel really good with this. And I think it's kind of because it epitomises shape, colour, style, colour together. Then I have got this jumper because again, it's shape, colour, it's style. The blue is brilliant. And I do like that I made it. Obviously, I always like that I made something. And it goes with a lot of other things in my wardrobe. Then I've got this scarf. Now, I love a big scarf of all types. And as you've seen, I've got a few in here because I've got this lilac-y one and blue checked. That's a scarf as well, the fur. And there are some in the next cupboard along as well. But this one, just the colour's so good. And I had been wanting to make it for ages. And when something works out as well as you'd hoped and you've had it on your to-do list for a long time, it just feels really good, doesn't it? And also a nice scarf gives me opportunities to wear brooches because I often either fasten it with a brooch or just put one on anyway. So I love wearing a scarf and I'm a cold person. Then the last one in my 4, although I may do some honourable mentions, is this ready-to-wear cardigan. I put this on so often. It was from Zara, but I didn't buy it new. I can't remember. It's probably vintage. And I'm constantly putting it on. Tend to wear it open and I sort of tuck that like that. And for example, if it got cold today, I would probably put it on over this. It's brilliant neutral colour, but it's not boring in my, it's not too plain. It adds a bit of volume and bulk to my top half, which I really like. So it's just so useful. So I had no hand in it at all, but it is a really useful thing. And it is something, I have a white cardigan, which again was ready to wear. I probably would really like a navy cardigan that would go over some kind of dark, relatively neutral blue that would go over things in the same way that this would. And come to think of it, I wouldn't mind a pink one. But yeah, I really love that. My honourable mention is probably for these 2, which are ready to wear, but I just always feel so good when I'm wearing them. And this one is like a tank top with attached sleeves. The sleeves are everything in this. They're so good. And I have kind of thoughts of, you could knit a tank top. I've knitted tank tops and I could make sleeves that would go like this. So this kind of crazy voluminous sort of fabric that sometimes it's difficult to know what to do with it. And look, I'm breaking the floral rules again. I think it's because it's in kind of an edgy garment, or what I would call an edgy garment. It has, of course, got shoulder details. I'll see if I can find a picture of myself in it. But this kind of fabric that I would normally kind of feel a little bit unsure about how would I use it, this is a way that you could use it. And I love wearing this. And I like that it's got the knitted cuffs down at the bottom. So if I repeated this, I would want to try and knit a band that I could use at the bottom there. So this one is more of an inspiration for something I would like to make. And this is how I often use ready to wear. Like, I'll use it to try out a shape that I don't really want to invest the time and energy in making. I'm not sure I'm going to like it. So I've got this in my wardrobe, and obviously I tried it on before I bought it. But having worn it a few times, or quite a few times, I'm now confident that I really like the shape and the sort of design idea. So I would go and spend the time now, potentially invest the time in making something that would be relatively complex, because I know I'm going to like it. And I think that's a good way to think about your ready-to-wear wardrobe, because most of us have got a lot of ready-to-wear. There's no shame in that. It's totally normal. It's how I want my wardrobe to be. But it's one of the ways you can sometimes use that to make creativity. Now, my last honourable mention, having nearly emptied the cupboard, is just this cropped cardigan, which is amazing. I got it off Vinted, the pattern. I love a giant dog's tooth. I don't know what it is about it, but if I see it, it always calls to me. And the colours are just incredible. So in terms of my knitted wardrobe, that is my knitted wardrobe. Okay, so here we are moving down to ground level, and it's so ironic that I have all this wardrobe space, and these two shelves definitely hold things that I wear more than anything else, because it's trousers, and I pretty much wear trousers every single day. Maybe occasionally I put on a dress, but everything you've seen, so you saw at the start of my Me Made May, my kind of tops and blouses and separates collection, this is what they always go with, trousers. There isn't as much Me Made in here as I would like, because things that I was me making when I was last really active on YouTube, a lot of them don't fit anymore. I just wasn't pleased with the fit, or I kept falling into the trap of wanting to sew something interesting, so putting details on trousers. And what I have realised through trial and error is that details on trousers don't really work for me. I need a much more pared back shape. So I love the look of a cargo pocket, but I'm not really going to wear it. I love the look of some patch pockets. I'm not really going to wear it. I love contrast. I love interesting seams, but I'm not going to wear it, because once it gets onto my body, it's fun to make. Once it gets onto my body, I don't like how it looks. I don't feel like it works. So a lot of what I did make is not here anymore because of that reason. And then when I've started to try and remake or really explore, I haven't yet got to the place where I'm pleased with the fit. So I've been in a bit of a stuck place, if I'm honest, with trousers in terms of making. I'm getting there. So the Samara pants that I showed you the fabric for the other day, I've constructed most of them, tried them on, needed to change the fit a little bit, but that was more of a sizing thing, and they look like they're coming along, and that's not a style I've made before. So we're learning and we're advancing. I'm going to count it as 21 pairs, because on this row, it's mostly leggings. I've got like waterproof trousers. I've got thermal leggings that I would never wear out. They're just for like if you're going on a hill and it's really cold, or it's super cold in winter. I've got loungewear pajama trousers, and I'm not going to talk about pajamas. So I've kind of got two pairs of joggers, one of which you saw earlier in the week. I think it was these ones I was wearing. They're both the same shape. They're both from Next. So I've counted those, but the rest, and now I've forgotten my number. So we're calling it 21 pairs of trousers, but then there's some marginal kind of loungewear things that we're not going to cover. In terms of me made, entirely me made, I've got two entirely me made pairs of trousers, which is the white jeans that you saw the other day, and this pair, which they're both the Jenny trousers by Closet Core Patterns, as they're called now. And they've both got button fly fronts, which is a detail that I feel works on me, because it's just a line down the front. And other than that, they've got pockets for practicality reasons. I can't lose pockets entirely. That would just not work. But there's nothing special about them. And also belt loops are really helpful, because I often wear a belt. and my waist size goes up and down, so being able to use a belt to moderate the fit is helpful. So I would say these are probably linen, or no, not pure linen, like a viscose linen. I don't reach for them as much as I probably should. I'm just going to stand up. You can't see my face, but you can see the trousers. If I can find a picture of me in them, I will show you. The Jenny trousers definitely are ones that I will make again. I've been having some, I mean, these have been folded, so they're creased strangely, but I have been getting some fit. I'm not happy with the fit just under the bum. And I'll talk about that in another video about fitting trousers, I am sure, rather than taking up time here. But that's what's held me back with those ones. The white jeans, I told you about those the other day. They've only come back into my wardrobe recently because I didn't realise I could still wear them. Thought they were dead. Then we've got a couple of pairs of trousers. These are elasticated waist Marks and Spencer's wide leg trousers, and I have exactly the same in a dark navy, this pair. And although these are ready to wear, I bought the size that fit well on my legs so that there was plenty of room for them to be the fluid shape that they're supposed to be. But over time, well, not even just over time, the waist was always not really tight enough. So they would, if I put a phone in my pocket, for example, they'd be pulled down by the weight of that. So in the end, I relented and I entirely took the waistband apart and narrowed it and reconstructed the waistband. So it was nearly as much work as making a whole pair of trousers, because taking something apart when you need to reserve stuff, if you've ever done it, you know, that's pretty tricky. But that means that this pair and the navy pair I completely saved from being unwearable. And I often find that with, you know, ready to wear trousers is a trial in themselves, even though that's barely all I've got, because of a difference in waist and hip size. So elasticated waist tends to be the way to go. And then this pair is also Marks and Spencer's pair. And this one was a ready to wear pair that I bought always with the intention of altering them. So they're more tailored. And really I went with these because the fit around the bum was really good on them, but they were too wide at the waist. I tried the smaller size on and you got the reverse, where the fit around the thighs and the bum was too tight, but the waist was fine. So I bought the size that fit around the legs, and I essentially, again, I reconstructed the waist. So here I took the waistband apart to most of the way across the back, took this tie off, then I took in, so I've got what you'd call a slightly sway back. So a lot of the narrowness in my waist comes from where my body goes in here, so I will often get a gape. This kind of detail works with that, so that's a detail that I would add, but it wasn't doing enough. I was gathering it a lot. There was a lot of bulk being created, and it still wasn't really doing enough, and there was a long tail of this tie. So I took it apart, took some of the actual bigness, I can't get my words this morning, out of here, and then reconstructed the tie. Actually, I think, yeah, maybe I can't remember how far back I took it, but I know I shortened the tie so that it still fit me and was in the middle, so the look was good, but I took out the bulk here. And these weren't cheap trousers, they weren't super expensive, but they cost, I think, 50 quid. So again, it was like, oh, do I really spend £50 on a pair of trousers that I know are unwearable and are going to give me a lot of work to make them work? But I decided to, partly because everything else was really good, and that fit problem that I'm getting with ones that I make from scratch wasn't present in these trousers. And the fabric, again, the fabric made it worth it. It's, I don't even know what it is. It feels almost spongy. So it says it is 33% viscose, 63% polyester and 4% elastane. And it's a very fluid but heavy bottom weight. And it's really, really good for the kind of look I wanted. So that really, I couldn't repeat the fabric. I could have tried to repeat everything else and it would have taken me a lot of time, but I couldn't repeat the fabric. So these trousers, I've only recently finished that because they hung around for months honestly, brand new, still tags on. They hung around for months waiting for me to get on with it, and I finally got on with it. So looking at what else I have in my wardrobe and what could I learn from my Me Made, because everything else here is not Me Made. I've probably shortened a lot of them. I've shortened these jeans. I have shortened at least 2 of these pairs of coloured trousers. Some of the things I've already told you. One is no, the pocket details and adding bulk at the hip doesn't work for me. Avoiding different seam and design lines down the leg, or at least around the thigh, doesn't work for me, because I also have to think about I'm not super tall, so everything I add could potentially cut off the illusion of extra height. Everything here is, well, this one, and some of this one are all wide leg. The pair of trousers I am wearing today is a Marks and Spencer's ready to wear, elasticated waist. The drawstring only goes to the side and fastens here, and all 3 of these are largely identical. They're all Marks and Spencer's, they're all wide leg, they're all coloured trousers, and these are probably the trousers that I wear the most. Red, pink, like a sea green, and a bright blue. So you can see my colours in those. And when Marks and Spencer's, oh, there's a pull in that one, that's annoying. When Marks and Spencer's started selling this style of trousers a few years ago, I was so happy. So that is a style I would like to find a pattern for, and I quite like having a tie at the front, or so either a tie or something that allows me to put a belt in. That's a detail I go for. The other thing, these are the jeans that I think I was wearing on a video a few days ago. Yes, I think I was. If not, I am sure I will wear them later in the month, but they are very wide legged, and these are the trousers that gave me the confidence to go for the Samara pants. I think the Samara pants might be a bit wider, but these again are Marks and Spencer's, so I tend to go to them for trousers, partly because they do the different heights. They have sometimes about 4 different height options, which is really excellent, but also I know that their fit generally is going to be my best bet. It's not always perfect, I still have problems, but it can be good. The one pair of, so this pair of trousers, we're going Me Made, this is my longest lived pair of trousers there, I'm pretty sure. These might be as old as the boy who turned 18, they could be older. Originally from Next. A year or 2 ago I shortened them off, and now they end sort of mid-calf. I'm not sure, well, I had to do it because the bottom of the trousers had frayed. It definitely wasn't last year, it was probably the year before, because it was during a heat wave and I didn't have any. I'm terrible at summer wardrobe. It only gets warm enough for me for about 2 days of the year, and by the time I'm like, oh, I need something to wear, it's cold again. So I didn't have much to wear, but I've never worn them at this length. And I need to think about why that is. Because it feels, well, part of it might be because it cuts me off at a strange place. I don't know. So I did alter these and I made them wearable again, because they were very frayed at the bottom. Unwearably frayed, not just like 90s grunge frayed, but so frayed. We had no fabric left, let's just put it that way. Yeah, so that is my trouser wardrobe. And I'm going to call that done in terms of wardrobe audit. So I guess the one thing that I haven't talked about is like the lounge pants, or what would we call it? Joggers type category. And I do need some of those. Not sure if I'll go ready to wear or I'll go Me Made, because I've been struggling to find good fabric for that. I want something that still drapes. It's got to drape on the lower half of my body. That's kind of a non-negotiable. Even those wide jeans have to drape. But something that's a bit more casual, that's not necessarily a workday piece of clothing, that I would really like to find. So if you know any good, I guess it's a ponte or it's a drapey knit of some kind that would make wide leg joggers, maybe, I know there's quite a few patterns out there now, and these blue trousers, if I found a pattern that would make those, these in a kind of more of a sportswear fabric would be more of a jogger type trouser because they've got elasticated waist, and I would definitely be making them wide leg. So perhaps that is a challenge or request for you guys out there. If you know any good fabric, so something that you've had your hands on, or you've seen someone do a video about drapey, but more sportswear, casual, athleisure they call it, don't they? Type of fabric that I could make some elasticated waist jogger type trousers. Love a stripe down the side. That would be good. So put me onto some good fabric, and you may put temptation in my way. So that's our wardrobe audit finished. Tomorrow, I hope I will have time to make my what did I make in April. So we'll do some looking at all the sewing I did, and I did do quite a lot of sewing. And also moving into next week, we're gonna review how Me Made May has been going so far, and we're going to start to talk about styling and planning. So sewing patterns to fill all these gaps of things that I would kind of like to make this, I kind of like to make that. So stick around. I'm still doing okay with a video a day. I don't know how, but I am. And I will see you again really soon for more sewing talk. Bye.